The Fox Files presents Healthy Living. Local health experts answer your questions and keep you up to date on the latest in health trends and technology. Bringing the health advice you need to prime time, it's Healthy Living, live on The Fox Files.
Hello and welcome to the Fox Files. Tonight's topic is healthy living, and we are talking to Atlanta Prosthetics and Orthotics located in Macon. The phone number is 478-741-5510, and we'll get to your calls in just a moment. But first, let's meet tonight's guests. We have Robert Carey and Shea Council from the Macon location of Atlanta Prosthetics and Orthotics. Thank you guys so much for being here.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, tell us a little bit about the company, what you guys do.
Well, we make prosthetics and orthotics. For the orthotics are basically upper and lower extremity, also do spinal, cervical. Prosthetics, we do cover all the upper and lower extremity prosthetic devices.
Okay,
So-
great. And Shea, you're here for a reason. Why don't you tell everyone your story and your personal experience and process?
Okay. When I was 6 years old, which was 26 years ago, I had a rare form of bacterial meningitis, and it caused the blood circulation to my legs to practically stop, so they had to amputate my legs below the knee. So I'm a double amputee, and so I've worn prosthetics for 26 years, and I met Jim Hughes, who owns the Atlanta Prosthetics and Orthotics. I met him, and I've just stayed with him for 26 years.
Wow. And how has the process been when you first went into this? What were the questions that you had, and how were those, solved out?
Well, I was a young child, so I really just wanted to get a pair of legs and move on, just be a normal child. So, but I think once I reached puberty and I was in high school, that was when, I was more self-conscious about being an amputee and, people treating you differently because of your prosthetics. And but now I'm very confident, and I guess after 26 years I have learned how to do almost everything that anybody else can do. So.
And a common question when you're getting used to a new prosthetic or a brace, is it painful?
Doesn't really have to be. There are pressures that you're not used to, but all around, we try to make it as painless as possible and explain to certain patients, pressure and then pain. There is a difference.
And when someone comes in, what is the process as far as the very first time they come in? Is it a consultation, a free consultation?
Yes, our consultations, either pre-surgical or post-surgical, they are free. Even if you've got maybe something that you've gotten somewhere else before, it could be old, it could be new, and you're not sure, we don't mind looking at it, and there's no pressure and there's no charge. But there's a lot that goes with it. The shrinker for prosthetics, and that's primarily what I do. That's what we usually start with, is compression therapy. Okay,
great. And what would you be able to do with this prosthetic, when you enable a patient? I know you were able to do so many things that I guess you never thought you could until after this process. Maybe talk about that. What are some of the things that you are enabled to do when you do go through this?
Well, basically you have to learn how to walk again. I was 6, like I said, and I had already learned how to walk and run and ride bicycles, and so with prosthetics I had to learn how to do all those things over again.
All over again. And you are an athlete, right?
Right, yes.
Okay, great. I want to get more into that. We are going to continue the conversation, but we have to take a quick break. The Fox Files will return right after this. Welcome back to the Fox Files. Tonight's topic is healthy living, and we're talking to Atlanta Prosthetics and Orthotics. We are going to go to the phone lines. We actually have Michelle on the line. Michelle, thanks for calling the Fox Files. What's your question or comment tonight?
I wanted to know, I heard him mention compression earlier. So do you just assist clients that are amputees, or do you assist people who have issues with their extremities and maybe swelling or something like that, or some type of assistive devices?
We do compression therapy, if that's what you're referring to. It depends. We have to go by a script from your physician, and then we can probably handle that if you're talking about a non-amputee.
Okay. All right, Michelle, thank you for calling. Well, let me ask, how is the decision made as to what kind of prosthetic somebody should get? What is the process of going into that?
Well, basically, we have to go by what's known as K levels, as far as justification per patient. I mean, say a geriatric or a pediatric. You know, we deal with the whole spectrum. Pediatric would be a high-level patient typically, like Shea was when she was growing up and still is. But to qualify under like Medicare or insurance guidelines, we've got to, as a practitioner, justify, you know, where they're at and where they will be to be able to provide certain components that go to that limb.
Right.
A lot of the sockets are generally the same, so your fit's pretty much consistent throughout, but it depends on the different feet, you know, running feet, high performance feet.
And how soon can someone get fitted after the surgery?
Well, that depends on the healing time also. Typically in 4 to 6 weeks, if everything's well. I mean, typically I like to wait till all the healing is done. There's no drainage issues whatsoever before we do any compression, because there could be problems with that.
Okay.
But all this is prescription based. So whenever the surgeon feels like it's ready, they'll issue a prescription and we can start.
All right, and each scenario is, you know, a different, unique situation. How do you approach each person's situation differently?
Well, 50% of my job is psychology in the first place, because there's so many emotions that transpire with these patients when they come to you, and that's what our goal is to treat every patient as, you know, a human being, the way they want to feel. Yeah,
and it's so good to have someone with, you know, the similar situation that you're going through, so you can, you know, understand and communicate. And Shea, how was that for you going into it? Did you have someone that you could talk to about prosthetics and what you were going through?
I really didn't at the time. I mean, there weren't as many support groups back then as there is now. But I think that would have been very beneficial for my parents, you know, and me, you know, when I was going through the process, and I was so new at everything, and we had to learn how to, you know, do everything, put your prosthesis on, and so I think it would have been very beneficial to have, you know, support group or someone to talk to. But basically I saw other amputees when I went to my prosthetic company to have new legs made. But I mean, now I have seen, you know, amputees out, you know, in the grocery store, or, you know, going at the mall, and you know, so you do see them out more now. And
you make a great point that it's not only the patient that's affected, but the entire family that has to get used to the change of lifestyle.
Right.
Okay.
And I guess for me it was my parents, because I was so young, but I mean, if you're older, you know, your spouse, you know, would have to learn, and I'm sure they go through emotions also because of their spouse that's going through it. So I do think it's important for everyone.
Okay, let's go back to the phone lines. We have Terry on the line. Terry, thanks for calling the Fox Files. What's your question or comment tonight?
Hi, my name is Terry, and I became an amputee in 2010, and I had some other health issues after that. So my sight was kind of late healing, but I am healed now and wearing my prosthetic. However, I would like to know if you have a recommendation as to where you can go to get physical therapy for amputees to help you get ready to be more mobile quickly.
That is a very good question. For years, we've had very few therapists. They don't get a whole lot of training with amputees when they're going through school, because they're focused more on the larger majority of people. There's a few that I know about. I can look them up if you would like to call the office and give you the names and numbers that have worked with amputees a lot in the past. Another thing is we also have a support group that our company has. We do it once a month for all 7 of our offices, and we actually have a certified peer visitor that comes in, and she could probably give some recommendations too, depending on where you live.
Okay, and Terry, you can also leave your number, and we will relay the information, so we'll definitely try and get that information to you. And with that, we are going to go ahead and take another break. Stay tuned, the Fox Files will return right after this. Welcome back to the Fox Files. We are going to go back to the phone lines. We have Paul on the line. Paul, thanks for calling the Fox Files. What's your question or comment tonight?
Yes, I have a question. I noticed the name is Atlanta Prosthetics. Do they have a local office, or would I need to travel to Atlanta?
I'll go ahead and let you explain.
I can take that one. That'll be easy. Yes, it is 869 Walnut Street here in Macon, and that's why we typically answer the phone. It's AP&O, but it is Atlanta Prosthetics and Orthotics. It's just we have 7 offices across the state.
And where are the other locations?
Oh my goodness. It's Austell, Atlanta, Monroe, Athens, Carrollton, and Gainesville.
All right, so you're all over the place. And how big is the need for prosthetics and orthotics in the region?
Oh.
Do you see the company expanding more?
Well, that's a really tough question, because our company initially started in '99. Mm-hmm. And in the last, I'd say 2 years or 3 years, we've gone from 2 offices to 7.
Wow. Okay.
So, and doing well.
All right. So, let me ask: does AP&O offer any programs for new amputees?
Yes, we do. It's I was talking about that just a moment ago. It's a certified ACA certified peer visitor that she comes into each one of our 7 offices once a month, probably an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever time they need. But she offers that, and it's not only for our patients, it's for anyone else that would like advice or help.
Okay, and how long does a prosthetic last? How often do people need to go in and change them, or do they grow out of them at all?
Well, the pediatric population does. They normally have to be changed sometimes in 9 months. We try to get them to last at least a year or longer. When you're talking about the adult population, we typically, it's hard to get justification earlier than 3 years. But being a new amputee, sometimes we have to do a socket replacement after the first 6 months or year because of usually atrophy in the muscles or shrinkage.
So when you're dealing with younger children, are you dealing with a lower cost because of that replacement that's needed?
It depends on the age. If they're under 5 or 6 years old, there's more componentry is being designed than there used to be 10 years ago. For these kids, as far as flex feet like she wears. But typically with the kids, you're having just growth spurts, and you're having to go in and change the length. Sometimes the bone's growing, so they're out of the socket. So there's more that's going on. It's just mostly growth with the peds.
Okay, Shea, talk about the prosthetic that you have. What type do you have, and how does it differ from some of the others?
I have the vertical shock made by Oser, and it actually has a shock that absorbs some of the pressure when you walk, because I don't have an ankle to absorb some of that. So the shock absorber that's what it's made for, to help with some of the pressure. I was sometimes having low back pain, and so the shock absorber also helps with that. So, and I can walk and run and in these legs without having to change different legs.
And tell us about some of your accomplishments after you got those.
Well, in 2000, I was a member of the 2000 Sydney Paralympics, and the Paralympics is the Olympics for physically disabled athletes. And I won 2 gold medals in the 100 and 200 meters, and a couple of world records also. So
That's great.
yes.
Okay. Well, we have a little under a minute. Why don't you go ahead and any final thoughts where people can, where they should go if they have any questions or?
Yes, I guess our number is on the.
Yep.
If you need our number,
Yeah, we have the number. If you'd like to contact a guest from tonight's show, you can reach the Atlanta Prosthetics and Orthotics in Macon. The number is 478-238-6464. Thank you guys again so much for being on the show.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for having
much.
us.
And please tune in next time for another edition of the Fox Files for our guest, I'm Mario Ramirez. Thanks for watching News Central at 10 on Fox 24. Now stay tuned for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We'll see you tomorrow at 5:30 and 10. Have a great night.